Welcome to week 3 of Boom Live on YouTube. We are so excited to have you guys here with us tonight. Let us know in the comments the first thing you're looking forward to doing after quarantine. For me, it's getting a haircut because I wear a hat every single day. It's bad. Type 1 in the comments if you want a haircut as well because this is terrible. But anyways, if you guys are new, welcome, and type small group in the chat below so we can connect you to a leader and a small group for tonight. Also, check out this video that Bryce tricked us into doing tonight that has to do with spicy.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our segment called Hot Seat. We have Mr. Matthew McVeigh and Mr. Robert Bell with us. We're gonna play a little game. I'm so excited. Some would call it a game, others would call it torture, but we're gonna have a great time either way. And so, the nature of the game is this. What's gonna happen is we have 3 rounds, and I'm gonna ask them questions. Now, every round the questions are gonna get a little bit harder to answer, a little bit more embarrassing, and every round they're actually gonna eat some, they were gonna be hot wings, but I decided to go with some chicken nuggets. And they've been marinating in some of our hot sauces, and so every round as the questions get hotter, the wings are actually gonna get hotter as well. And so round 1, we're gonna get started pretty easy. Okay. This right here is a peach with Carolina Reaper wing sauce. It's actually surprisingly good. I thought it was great. So go ahead and grab one. They're in plastic bags because we ain't bougie. All right, 3, 2, 1, go ahead. All right, question. Which person on staff would you want to be quarantined with and why?
Oh, that's real hot.
It definitely has some heat.
It definitely does.
That builds probably Eddie, because he's really bad at Super Smash Bros. And I feel really good about myself.
And he's not in here right now, so you
exactly.
can
He left to go get us napkins. Thanks, Eddie. But yeah, I probably want to quarantine with you just so I could beat you in Smash a lot.
Nice. I feel that.
See, I'm standing next to Bryce, so I feel obligated to say, man, Bryce, what a guy. I mean, look at the hair. Gotta love it. I'd probably say Bryce, though, if I'm honest. I don't know if it's the hot sauce kicking in, making me delusional, but we have a lot of the same interests. So, yeah, I'd probably go with Bryce, and he'd make it more lively. Oh my gosh.
Yep, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. So the next one, this right here is called Da Bomb. This is pretty hot. This is about the equivalent of a blazing sauce. I think it's actually a little bit hotter. And this one tore me up. So go ahead. It's about 350 Scoville units, if you know what those are. 1,000, sorry, 350,000.
Yeah,
sorry, I kind of like left out 3 zeros. I don't know, it's weird. Remember, please don't touch anything. You will go blind. What was your most embarrassing experience with a girl? Growing up, could be recent, could be when you were a kid. What was your most embarrassing experience with a girl?
Oh, that doesn't even taste good.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's terrible.
Does this help?
Probably not. It's probably just gonna make everything worse. Got it. You okay?
I can't take it.
It's not hot, right? You're crying a little bit, Matthew. Don't touch your face. Robert's getting red.
Well, that's not. Well, how are you doing?
Come on!
I don't have any embarrassing experience with girls.
You can do an abridged version right now and count
That was abridged. That's good.
Okay. He made a girl a bookmark and got turned down. She threw it away. Oh, go to the bathroom if you're gonna throw up.
I'm not gonna do it.
Matthew, story.
I can't answer this question.
But then we're gonna move on.
I didn't help.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the last one. Do you want a little bit to cool down? We can pause it.
Yeah, pause.
Yeah, hit stop.
3 hours later.
Okay, we just gave them a brief intermission so they could recover.
We haven't recovered at all.
We have one last question and one last set of chicken nuggets with hot sauce. So this last one is called Lethal Ingestion. It is 1 million Scoville units, which is like 400 times hotter than a jalapeno habanero. I can't remember. So your final question is, when was the last time you had to go to the bathroom and just couldn't make it? Pee, the other one, number 1, number 2, whichever, okay?
Yesterday.
Well, why don't you take a bite and then you gotta answer, okay? No, at least, it needs to be at least half.
At least half. I'm gonna do like a third.
Just do half. Oh, you can do more than that. More.
Oh no, I'll get that.
You got it, come on, Matthew.
Whoa, good night.
Matthew,
Good
take a
morning,
bite.
San Diego.
Matthew.
You haven't taken a bite yet?
If you throw up, it'll be for Jesus, so eat it.
So my story, Westerville driving range.
No.
Probably like 6th grade. I had no breakfast in the morning. I'm telling you a story.
Go.
I had no breakfast in the
Matthew, just take the bite.
like a dragon. So
Shoot it and swallow.
I was taking a golf lesson, right? And I had no breakfast. I went to swing, and it was so hot. But it was also so hot on that day. Oh my gosh. Anyways,
Just get it out.
so I was hitting, and I had no breakfast. It was like 100 degrees. And when I swung to hit, I missed. I blacked out and defecated myself.
All right,
There you go, Boomers.
Matthew, go ahead.
I think it was like, it was probably like a year ago.
That recently. Okay.
It was a year ago. You ever have,
Yeah.
you ever have, dreams, and in the dream you're using the bathroom?
I have dreams.
Yeah. Well, I had one of those, and I'm like, using the bathroom in the dream, and all of a sudden I'm like,
Peeing.
this feels different than in the dream. And I wake up, and you know what happened.
What happened?
You know.
You peed the bed.
You didn't
Definitely. I definitely did.
All right, guys, that is all the time we have for today.
I drank a lot of water. I had drank it.
Water doesn't help.
Thank you guys for watching Hot Ones with Matthew and Robert.
You're evil.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
It's fine. I had a lot of fun.
It's not enjoyable.
I don't know how to end this, so just go ahead.
What's up, you guys? I hope that you are enjoying Boom so far. We are going to transition into worship now, and I just wanted to take a minute to remind you guys that worship is putting the spotlight on God, us showing some love to God because He loves us. We are going to sing a new song tonight. It's called This Moment by Elevation Rhythm. It's the same group that sings Wild Love, which I know you guys enjoyed a ton. So take the next few minutes, sing this with us. We hope you enjoy it.
I can't fast forward and I can't rewind. There's nowhere to run and there's nothing to hide. I can't go back to erase space and time. I give you this moment, my heart's open wide. 'Cause here, right now, I will bring all I have to give. 'Cause here, right now, you are my only motive. You're the one I want forever. You can have all of me. I won't forget this moment. You are my everything. More than I could ever ask for. More than my hopes and dreams. I won't forget this moment. You are my everything. If my heart's a desert, abandoned and dry, your word like rain drowning out all the lies. You whisper, I feel you like chills down my spine. Your voice like thunder that I can't deny. Yeah, you're the one I want forever. You can have all of me, and I won't forget this moment. You are my everything. More than I could ever ask for. More than my hopes and dreams. I won't forget this moment. You are my everything.
No, you're the one that I'm after. Only
Hey everyone, I am so excited to be here with you today. Man, it feels like we've been in quarantine for the longest time, but hey, we're still going. We're still doing Boom Live. We're still able to gather virtually, even if we can't gather physically, and we're gonna have some fun tonight. We're gonna learn a little bit. I hope you guys are all doing well in quarantine. As you may have noticed, I may or may not have dyed my hair. It's fine, I'm fine. We're fine. Anyways, so we have been learning a little bit about looking at the bigger picture. We are actually this week are wrapping up a series called Bigger Picture, and we've been looking at a guy named Joseph. And Joseph has been on this crazy journey where tons of wild and unexpected things have happened in his life, but God has been busy behind the scenes working everything for his good to tell this really, really cool story, and so that we can learn something from Joseph's life. And so today I want to talk a little bit about this idea called payback. And we've all been in situations where we've wanted to get back at somebody. Maybe your friend started a rumor about you or talked really rudely about you behind your back. And so immediately you wanted to start a rumor about them, or you wanted to confront them, and you wanted to make sure that they got what they deserved. Or maybe your sibling stole your favorite sweater and ruined it. And you're like, man, I'm going to go and destroy all of their clothes because they ruined my most favorite sweater. There's so many different examples of moments in our lives where we get wronged and we want to make sure that they hurt in the same way that we hurt. And the truth is, guys, we've all been wronged before. We've all been the victim of something that someone did that ultimately hurt us, where they said something about us, where they hurt our feelings, where they took something of ours, or they started a rumor about us. We've all been in a situation where there's just that one thing on our mind and we can't get over it. And it's payback. We want them to hurt as much as we hurt. We want them to feel what we're feeling. And actually today we're going to look at a story in Joseph's life where maybe payback isn't the best option. Maybe this other thing is way bigger and way better than anything that payback has to offer us. Now, if there's anyone in the Bible who really wanted some payback, it probably would have been Joseph. If you remember anything about Joseph's story that we've been talking about the last few weeks, you would know that Joseph was one of 12 siblings, which in and of itself was already a messy situation. And then his dad comes out and says Joseph is his favorite. And so all of his brothers are going to be angry with him. And so what did they do? Right? They actually threw him in a well, a dried up well. They left him for dead, and then they actually sold him into slavery. I don't know about you, but if I was Joseph, the one thing on my mind would be payback. And so what happens in Joseph's story is that through a long line of events, Joseph actually gets sold into slavery, and then he gets out, and he ends up climbing to the ranks and becoming the second in command to the Pharaoh. And Joseph gets put in a situation of power. He ends up being in charge of all the food distribution in the Egyptian empire. And this is really important to notice because at the time where our story picks up, there's a giant famine. And really what that means is that nothing's really growing and there's not a lot of food to go around. And so Joseph is in charge of giving people food when they're in need, when they need help. And so a lot of people come to Joseph with their need and they're like, hey man, we need some grain, we need some of this, or else our family's not going to make it. And Joseph is in charge of having the final say on whether or not they get food and where the food really gets distributed to. Now, of all the people in the world to show up and need Joseph's help, guess who actually shows up? His brothers, the same brothers that left him for dead, the same brothers that sold him into slavery, were now in desperate need of food during this famine. And so Joseph actually meets with them and they don't recognize him at first. I mean, think about it. They sold him into slavery. They probably figured he was dead or long gone. But Joseph sees his brothers. He recognizes them, even though they don't recognize him. And he has a choice to make. Does he get his payback? Does he retaliate? Does he make them pay for what they did? Or does he do something different? And what we are going to read is actually really surprising. You see, Joseph actually chooses a different path. In Genesis 45, it says this: Joseph could stand it no longer. There were many people in the room, and he said to his attendants, out, all of you. So he was alone with his brothers when he told them who he was. Then he broke down and wept. He wept so loudly the Egyptians could hear him, and word of it quickly carried to Pharaoh's palace. I am Joseph, he said to the brothers. Is my father still alive? But his brothers were speechless. They were so stunned to realize that Joseph was standing there in front of them. Please come closer, he said to them. So they came closer. And he said again, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. But don't be upset and don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. You can live in the region of Goshen, where you can be near me with all of your children and grandchildren, your flocks and your herds, and everything you own. I will take care of you there, for there are still 5 years of famine ahead of us. Otherwise, you, your household, and all of your animals will starve. Do you see what Joseph is doing here? He could have done anything he wanted. He was in a position where he could make them hurt. He could make his brothers hurt in the same way that they hurt him. He could have sold them into slavery. He could have done whatever he wanted. But he chose to do something different. Joseph took a different path. He chose forgiveness. Now, can you imagine how surprised his brothers would have been at Joseph's reaction? They probably would have expected Joseph to be so angry that he would have made them starve, or he would have punished them, but he chose to do something different. The scriptures show us that Joseph actually wept and he embraced them. Can you imagine how crazy that must have been in that situation? And I really think that there's a lot that we can learn from Joseph's reaction rather than his retaliation, right? Instead of getting his payback, he chose to forgive. And that's what I want us to take away today. You see, when you can't see the bigger picture, choose to forgive. You see, Joseph's response to his brothers is a powerful example for us to take away of how we should forgive people rather than seeking payback. The truth is, we're all going to be hurt. We're all going to experience heartache and pain inflicted by other people. And no matter what happens, we have a choice to make. Do we want payback, or do we want to forgive? And when we can't see how everything's going to play out, God shows us that forgiveness is better than our payback. And I know that forgiving can be a hard thing. Some of you guys have been really hurt by people that have made you feel like you're worthless, people that have said really mean things about you. There have been things that have happened to you that I'm sure I don't even understand. But I think that God wants us to forgive people rather than just to get payback all the time, to make them hurt in the same way that we hurt. And I know that forgiveness can be one of the hardest things in the world to do. And so today I want to give us 3 things that we can start to do right now that can help us forgive the people that have wronged us. The first thing that I want us to do is to start small. Start small. You don't have to go from 0 to 100 real quick overnight and to forgive everybody for everything they've done immediately. Think of forgiveness as a muscle. You have to work it out. It takes time to build up strength. And so maybe find something small to forgive someone for. Maybe it was when your little sibling told on you, or maybe it was when somebody didn't hang out with you when they said they were going to. Find something small and start to take small steps. And over time, it's actually going to get easier to forgive people for the big things. The second thing that I want you to try to do is to forgive first. You see, we have to get into a habit where we don't wait for people to apologize first. A lot of times people don't know that they've wronged us. And so we have to come to a place where we can forgive them even if they don't understand that they've hurt us, even if they don't apologize first. We can have the initiative in this moment to forgive first. And the last thing that I want us all to start to do is to pursue forgiveness. Pursue forgiveness. You see, we can't always control what people do, but we can control how we respond, how we react, or how we retaliate. And so maybe think of one small step this week that you can take towards pursuing forgiveness. Maybe for you, it's texting that person that you haven't talked to in a while because they wronged you, or maybe it's unblocking them on Instagram or Snapchat. What is one small step this week that you can take to pursue forgiveness with somebody in your life? Forgiveness can be a really hard thing to do. I get it. Sometimes people do things to you that almost seem like it's completely unforgivable. But I think that we can all take steps towards pursuing forgiveness. And when we do, God is going to do some amazing things through it. Guys, we're going to talk about this more in our small groups. So I hope you guys have a great time. And we can't wait to see you next week. And so as you go to small groups today, or this week, whenever you guys meet, I want you to think of this question right here. What is the hardest thing about choosing forgiveness? What is the hardest thing about choosing forgiveness? Guys, remember, even when you can't see the bigger picture, choose to forgive. We love you guys. We'll see you next time.
All right, Boom Livers, that is all the time we have for today. I hope you guys had fun. I didn't. We look forward to seeing you guys next week here virtually. Comment small group down below if you are not in a small group. I'm like sweating. I'm sweating. Anyways, we look forward to seeing you guys again. I think I said that already. I am suffering, guys. Anyways, have fun in your small groups. See ya.
You guys, I'm making a spaghetti squash like casserole, but we don't gossip because our hearts are of the Lord. So we're just sharing news, basically. You guys, I'm making a spaghetti squash like casserole, but we don't gossip because our hearts are of the Lord. So we're just sharing news, basically. You guys, I'm making a spaghetti squash like casserole, but we don't gossip because our hearts are of the Lord. So we're just sharing news, basically.